The following video captures the story of one of many young people interviewed as part of a COVID-19 Recovery Scenarios project, a partnership between Melbourne's Inner Northern Local Learning and Employment Network and UNESCO Univoc at RMIT. In this video, we hear Rosie's story. Rosie is 18 years old, lives in the inner northern suburbs of Melbourne, and is completing Year 12 at a state high school. Rosie is actively involved in a number of local groups and projects aimed at increasing youth engagement and addressing social justice across the inner north. In her story, Rosie speaks to the challenges of learning online and at home, inequalities across schools and the digital divide, the social aspects of schooling, and her motivation and pursuit of alternative pathways to university. Rosie describes herself as scared, anxious, and hopeful about the future, about the economic burden that her generation is likely to bear, about opportunities for housing, social and environmental problems, and young people's confidence in the Australian government.
I would say I'm pretty outgoing. I like to amplify my voice, and I think that, as I said before, I've been really fortunate with the life I've been given, and I think maybe that's a reason that I try to do the best I can and push for change. I have amazing friends. Most of them are actually outside of school, but I do love all the friends in school. I'm pretty close to the teachers at school. I feel like I have a good connection with all the teachers who teach me. Oh, my other job, I work at a local green organic grocery. So right now, I would definitely say I'm feeling the effects of COVID-19. I'm getting really sick of being at home. I would much rather be at school. Some people wouldn't, but I personally would. The first lockdown, I actually really enjoyed it. I loved being at home. I found that I got way more work done than what I did at school. I had no distractions and it was pretty good. I think it was different then because I didn't think that it would be this long. I don't think it really registered that, okay, this could be pretty much all of your Year 12 at home. But now the second lockdown, I'm kind of realising that, being in Year 12, we're missing all these milestone moments. We're not seeing our friends, which I think has been really disappointing. Graduation's going to be online. So I think realising that now has kind of ruined my mentality a bit. I think things I've realised is that I have to be very self-driven. I think I thrive around other people and having discussions. Being at home, we want that one-on-one contact. Asking something that you would usually ask your teacher in 2 seconds in an email is so different, and it's quite challenging to say the least. I think that not having that one-on-one contact is really hard for me. I think that I like discussions, I like talking about things, so just being at home all day in the same room is really kind of restricting on my learning. So some challenges that I've experienced, I think in the first lockdown, I wrote to the Age actually, and I made the point that I think COVID has exemplified the inequalities within the VC system. I think that public versus private, for example, private were able to close before we did, and were able to test out their equipment, test out how they were going to run online learning. But for me, who's considered Northcote's considered a pretty high socioeconomic public school, the first 2 weeks of lockdown, actually, the first time, we were dealing with system overloading, internet dropouts, and I think that definitely put us back a lot. But saying that, I'm very, very lucky to be working at home. I have internet and I have a computer that I can work from, and I know that so many people don't. So I'm very fortunate to be here, and it could be worse. It's okay, I'm fine. But I actually spoke to the project as well, and I said that I want to be at school, and I just made the point that I think it's really important for Year 12s to be at school in their last year. And then, I guess some opportunities I've had. I've also spoken to the drum on ABC, and I said that I was kind of 4 against 1. I was saying 4 other kids were saying that we should cancel exams, and I was saying that I don't think we should, because I think that, no matter what situation you're in, I think we've all worked way too hard over the last 13 years to, accomplish our goals. And I feel like we still can do that even if we're not at school. So that's been really interesting, kind of having a light to see other debates going on. I've definitely learned how to be more self-motivated. It's also been really hard for me not to compare like other schools to other schools. Like I have friends at other schools and they might be here in the course and we might be here, and it's like, oh, like I think you definitely see that more when you're at home. In the future, I'm not sure how COVID will impact it. I don't know. Hopefully can get into uni. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think overall I've been pretty fortunate in my situation. I've had to, deal with no schedule, and like it's been a bit and like took a few weeks to sort out. But yeah, I've learned to be very self-driven without teachers. I've learned that not all questions need to be asked because they're too hard to be asked over email. I think one quick thing that being at home and we use WebEx. It's like Microsoft Teams. But yeah, no one talks, and it's very, like, as I said, like I like to have discussions. But yeah, overall, definitely had an impact on my life. Schooling for sure. So looking into the future, I would say I am scared, anxious, and hopeful all at the same time. I think the next 5 years is definitely going to be interesting. Someone who's interested in politics, I think that, Australia has a long way to go in what we do and how we do things. And I think, to say the least, that our government needs to understand and kind of open their eyes to what we're contributing to things like climate change and how we can help countries less fortunate than us. And I think we kind of need to turn on our moral obligation key because we're not doing that at the moment. I think it's really scary to think about the economy and how we are going to have to be, my generation is going to have to be fixing that as well as paying off uni fees or whatever. I think that's really scary to think about. We're still not going to be able to afford a house. And yeah, just everyday expenses like that is really hard. On the topic of like social change, I think, we have seen so many, like in the media and social media, things happen this year. You've got the Black Lives Matter movement, climate protests at the start of the year, asylum seeker and refugee crisis. Like there is so many, the fires, things happening overseas. And I would definitely say, along with COVID, anxiety has been heightened, not just for me, but for my friends as well. As I said in my previous response, I feel like discrimination and racism is a very occurring thing in Australia. We see statistics about black deaths in custody, and we are no better than what's happening in America. And I think Australia really needs to recognise that. Really, justice needs to be served for those families. And I think that we need to really reevaluate our treatment of Indigenous Australians, and also kind of moving forward what we can do to implement that into education. Like, I think, as I said before, I don't think Australia is doing enough with climate change. We are ranked insufficient in our efforts to combat climate change. I think more people will be interested in politics as well. I think this year has been a real turning point. Being at home, and kind of the only way to connect with people is via social media. Social media and the media as well. We've just been exposed to so many, like, people have really learned how to educate themselves in things happening not just in their communities, I think, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. So yeah, I guess overall I'm scared and anxious, and I don't know, I feel like I'm also confident because, my generation, I feel like we are very open. We've been fighting for a lot, and I think we have to deal with a lot as well. So I feel like we are all going to put in a big effort, hopefully, to deal with the issues that have been left with us. One issue that I think the government and businesses should resolve, I think communities like Darebin and Yarra, and, I think we are really, this, for example, like we are really dealing with issues and we are thinking about things, and there's already strategies implemented to help the youth, which I think is amazing. But government-wise, I think I don't think I could pinpoint one thing that the Australian government should do. I think there's too much, and with the fires at the start of the year, I don't think the government dealt with that properly, and I don't think youth have very strong confidence in the government, and I think that's something that needs to be changed as well. So my future, in 5 years' time, hopefully I'm at university completing my dream course that I want to do at Monash, which is Law and Global Studies. I know that I probably won't get the required ATAR this year of a 98 to get into that. So I've been looking at alternative pathways to get in. So hopefully I feel like I can do that. To do that, I obviously need to complete exams, complete VCE, get my ATAR. That's definitely going to be hard, but I think I've set my goals and dreams very high. But yeah, hopefully that's what I'll be doing. I'm not sure. Am I confident about that? I mean, yeah, I think so. I think I've thought about the alternative pathways, as I said, to get in. And yeah, after that, I would really love to be doing things with social justice and human rights. Probably not be a lawyer, but use law to do something else. My living situation, I mean, I feel like it's so uncertain about COVID. Like, if COVID hadn't have happened, I would have travelled in between uni years and semesters and, gone overseas. But I'm not sure how long it's going to take to go travelling again. I would say a few years at least. So I guess, I'm not sure if I'd be living at home. I'm not sure if I'd have the money to be able to do that. To move out. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my parents would be fine with me staying here for the next 5 years. I feel like I'll only be 23, so I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I haven't really thought about this living situation. What experiences do I need to have? Well, I feel like my leadership roles at school will really help me do my desired course. I feel like I've learned a lot from the extracurricular activities I've done. And yeah, I hope to definitely use that leadership experience again in the future. I hope I can just make my family proud and also make myself proud and just complete the things that I set the bar so high to do, I guess.